Hi everyone, it's Ro and welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be doing a little beginner's guide to reading YA fantasy books. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I know that some people really don't like the fantasy genre, which is so weird to me because obviously I'm obsessed with it. If you haven't realised, yeah, I absolutely love fantasy. It's my favourite genre. So if you are not the biggest fan of fantasy, I thought I would make a little guide to immerse yourself into this amazing genre because I love it so much, and I thought I'd share with you the books that got me into fantasy. So if you don't like fantasy, stick around and maybe I can convert you into this fantasy cult that I am a part of. So here we go. Okay, so you might be wondering what got me into fantasy, and to be honest, the first series that really got me into fantasy and reading YA for that matter is The Mortal Instruments by Cassie Clare. If you haven't read this series yet, really don't know what you're doing with your life because it is so great. The characters are amazing, they're really diverse and they're super funny, the books are hilarious, and the plot and the whole world that Cassie creates, which is the Shadowhunter world, is amazing. So you should so pick this up if you're not that into fantasy, because trust me, this book will make you get into fantasy. And it is urban fantasy, which is really awesome, and the whole Shadowhunter society that Cassie created is so amazing. If you really want to connect with the characters, trust me, they will stick with you for the rest of your life. You will never forget about these characters, and this series definitely resonates with me because it is totally the first series that ever got me into fantasy and reading in general. So thank you, Cassandra Clare. Pick this series up if you haven't read it yet. I swear to you that you will love it so much because there's not one person that I have recommended this series to and they have not liked it. Cassie Clare also created another series that is set in the same Shadowhunter world, but it is set in the Victorian era in London, and oh my god, the romance in this book is amazing. And let me tell you, if you don't like love triangles, you should totally read this one because I swear to you, this is the best book with a love triangle that has been done so well, and the characters in the love triangle are gonna steal your heart away, and I love them so much with all my heart. And to be honest, I think I connected with the Infernal Devices on an emotional level much more than the Mortal Instruments. That goes without saying that the Mortal Instruments is amazing and the characters are amazing, but seriously, the Infernal Devices is amazing, and I think I had a 3-month book hangover after I read that series. So if you like historical books, you should definitely pick this up because it is combined with fantasy and obviously the Shadowhunter world. So you should totally pick this up if you haven't read it yet. Also, Cassandra Clare is bringing out a new series in the Shadowhunter world, and that is the Dark Artifices. I think that's how you say it. And the first book, Lady Midnight, is coming out in March, I think. And I am so excited. It has been so long since I've read a Cassie Clare book. I'm so ready to dive back into the Shadowhunter world and connect with some more characters that Cassie has created because she is the character queen. If you guys are so excited for Lady Midnight like I am, please comment down below and we can fangirl over this series. I'm so ready to read this book. So the next series was a really fun series that I read not too long after I read The Mortal Instruments, and that is Penryn and the End of Days. The first book is called Angelfall, and I still think that is the best book in the series, but still continue with this series if you have only read Angelfall or if you haven't read this series yet. It is so funny, and Penryn, the main protagonist, is absolutely hilarious, and I think she'll be one of my favourite heroines till the end of time. She is so funny. The romance in this book is also adorable, and it's set in a post-apocalyptic world where angels take over the human world. It's definitely action-packed and a very easy read. The books aren't that long, but they're still amazing. So it's by Susan E. Definitely pick this up. It is so amazing and you won't regret it, I swear. So obviously I've got to mention a Sarah J Maas series, and I think everyone should know by now that Sarah is my all-time all-time favourite author. She creates the best fantasy books ever. And if you haven't read the Throne of Glass series, I don't know what you're doing with your life. The first book is sort of based on a Cinderella type story, except the Cinderella figure, Selena Sardothian, is actually an assassin. She is so badass and she's amazing, and her character development over the 4 books that are out right now is so spectacular, and I have to commend Sarah for creating such a character. Definitely pick Throne of Glass up if you haven't read it yet. So the next series that I'm going to recommend for you if you haven't read fantasy yet is the Fallen Kingdom series. And considering that I only read this like 2 months ago, I feel like it is definitely a really great example of a spectacular fantasy series. There's so many different storylines that weave in together in this series, and the characters are really mysterious, and even though you see things from their point of view, you never really know why they want to do the things that they do, and it always keeps you guessing. Morgan Rhodes definitely doesn't have a fear for killing off characters, which is something that I find really commendable, because it always makes me want to keep reading, obviously, because you want to know what's going to happen and you always are on your feet. So even though I only read this recently, I definitely think if you want to read a really great political and suspenseful series, you should definitely pick up Fallen Kingdoms. I'm so excited for the next book to come out. I know lots of people really love this series, so definitely pick it up. Another fantasy series that I read quite early on when I discovered this genre was the Iron Fae series by Julie Kagawa. And this series is definitely a lot more light-hearted, but don't let that like turn you away from the series, because it is a really fun, easy read. It is a book full with adventure, and the book is always moving. It's definitely not a slow-paced series at all. So if you're not a big fan of like slow-paced stories, you should definitely pick up the Iron Fae series. It's not up there with one of my favourite fantasy series, but I really think that this is a great beginner's series to get you into the YA fantasy genre. And the last series that I'm going to recommend for you is the Daughter of Smoke and Bone series. And this is a very different sort of fantasy book. It's very unique. If you really want to read something that you haven't really read before, this is a great example of one of those books. The book includes like a sort of demon race, which is really interesting, and it definitely drew me in. It was very different from anything I'd read before, and there's also like an angel sort of type race that obviously the angels and the demons really don't like each other, but the heroine of this series is really awesome. A lot of the minor characters are so great as well. Susanna will always be up there on one of my favourite minor characters ever. I love her so much. So if you want to read something that you have really not read before and you want to delve into something new or unique, you should definitely pick up Daughter of Smoke and Bone. So those are just a selection of books that I recommend for beginners who want to really get into the fantasy genre. And tell me your thoughts below once you have read some of these series, and you can tell me if you liked these books or not, considering if you're not a fantasy lover like me. So just a little side note, I filmed a video a couple weeks ago for the episode 1 of Shadowhunters, the new TV show that is based off the Mortal Instruments. But then I went away on holiday and there was no Wi-Fi there, so obviously I couldn't upload the video, and by then I sort of thought that it wasn't really worth posting the video because the premiere had already been like 2 weeks ago before I was going to post it. So if you guys still want to see that, I did a reaction with my sister. So if you guys still want me to upload that video, please comment down below. We had a lot of fun filming it, but I just wasn't sure if I should still post it. The premiere was obviously a couple weeks ago now. But yeah, please just tell me down below if you still want to see that. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys soon. I thought I'd share with you what books I received for Christmas, and let me tell you, I got a lot of books, and I think I nearly shed a tear when I opened one box set.